Let me introduce you to the Momotaro, essentially the racists of the anime. The Oni, on the other hand, the racially profiled group of the anime. This is pretty much another X-Men scenario where you can draw parallels between what's going on in the story, like the conflict in the series, and you can kind of relate that to what happens in the real world. The Momotaro are a group of folks with the ability to control bacteria that they emit from their body, and they're hell-bent on erasing the Oni. Their sole purpose for existing is to wipe out every single Oni and make sure they cease to exist. I'm talking like Kendrick Lamar level of hate. The Oni, on the other hand, just want to be left alone. They just want to live their life, and they just defend themselves against the Momotaro. That's it. That's essentially the whole premise. Basically, it's on site for these two groups. It doesn't matter, baby, grandma, grandpa, anyone can catch the fade. The fade is the only thing in this anime that doesn't discriminate. Oni means demon in Japanese, and I was expecting the Onis to be the bad guys. While it is not necessarily black and white as to who the bad guys are in this series, I actually find myself feeling a lot more empathy for the Oni than I do for the Momotaro. For example, in Demon Slayer, I have zero empathy for Doma. I hope he dies. I hope he steps on Legos for the rest of his life. If that guy dies and goes to hell, he's getting a big hug from Satan. As a matter of fact, Satan's gonna be like, damn, you're evil even by my standards. That's how bad this guy is. I hope when he goes down there, he burns. Let me get back on point, because this isn't about Demon Slayer, okay? I just really hate that character. The Oni in Tougen and Anki, however, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but the Oni in this series, they're a bit more nuanced. They're not necessarily evil. They don't need to eat human beings like Doma in order to survive, so their existence isn't a threat to the Momotaro or anybody else. They just want to live their life. That's it. Now, I haven't read the manga. I'm just judging based on what I've seen in the anime, so I don't know if there's more to this, but so far there doesn't seem to be any indication that they are inherently bad or inherently evil and that they need to eat human beings or anything like that. The only thing I've seen is when pushed to the limit, they do have a tendency to go berserk and kill people, and most of the time the people pushing them to the limit are the Momotaro groups. When the main character of the series was introduced, he didn't even know he could control his blood, which is the unique ability of the Oni, and the only reason he was able to discover that was because his dad, father figure, was attacked, and that's why he discovered the ability to use the blood, and all the bad things happened from there. So in a way, if they just left him alone, nothing would have happened. It is not so black and white, and it's hard to call it on this one, but the Momotaro group of people have some really twisted folks on their side. They dress in white, and I think the only thing missing from their outfit is a hood, like a KKK, because I'm talking bad. They're bad. I'm talking kill a child's parents in front of the child, turn the parents into cops' puppets, and hunt said child with the dead parents. Like, that's just twisted. I'm talking like psychopathic, and they derive joy from doing this to Onis because they don't see the Oni as human. They see them as less than that. So whatever happens to them is fair game. I'm talking they relish it. On the other hand, the Onis don't behave like that. They just want to survive, and they'll do things in pursuit of survival. That's it. It's as if the Momotaro went to the Tobirama school of hating. It doesn't matter what your intentions are. It doesn't matter the content of your character. If you are Oni, you die slowly. Not necessarily slowly. The speed at which you die doesn't matter so long as you die. I just couldn't find anything on the spot to rhyme with Oni, so I went with slowly. Whatever, I'm not a rapper. Let's keep moving. Now, you guys need to watch this because I'm clearly working overtime on the Oni PR right now, but that's obviously because I relate to them on an allegorical level. The Momotaro are not all assholes. There are some good ones among them, like 0.0001%. Some of them are decent, one or two. And the hate for the Oni isn't unfounded. They have done some horrible things as well. But to hate the entire group because of a few things that the minority did is just insanity. But I really do like the subtle twist and take the show uses in addressing racial relations. It's kind of subtle. It's not really overt, but you can kind of read between the lines. Kind of like X-Men with like Magneto and Xavier, Malcolm X, and Martin Luther King. So it's kind of cool. But what is clear is that both sides would benefit more by judging each individual on the content of their character as opposed to lumping everyone together as a group. As a matter of fact, it is reflected in one of the episodes where a Momotaro and an Oni meet unknowingly that they are ops, and they actually turn out to have a lot in common and actually end up becoming good friends before obviously discovering that they're ops. Now, the main character of this anime clearly read only the Second Amendment of the Constitution and ignored every other part. And although he's not American, he definitely has no problems shooting guns in schools. While the main character is ill-mannered and frankly menacing on the outside, on the inside he's actually a big softie. He literally saves two human determines in this show, knowing fully well that he could expose his identity and draw Momotaro attention, he still put his life on the line essentially to save these guys. He does suffer a tragic incident which lets him kind of develop hatred for the Momotaro and kind of playing into their hands, because that's the whole thing. The hate is manufactured because both sides have suffered losses and they kind of hate each other uniformly regardless of individual differences. They just kind of lump everyone into a group. So both sides are a bit complicit in this. Both sides would benefit from just learning more about each other and judging each individual based on the content of the character. Without giving too much, this show tackles tribal mentality, groupthink, and just tribal discrimination in general. And if none of that convinces you to watch it, the show does have some very sick animations and very creative abilities. So the main character, for example, can do pretty cool things with his blood. I'm not going to give it away, but he can manipulate it to do very cool things. And the Momotaro as well. And the abilities, you cannot even guess what they can do. If you just hear like, oh, they can control the blood, they can control bacteria, you don't really have an idea of what happens in the actual series. To be honest, it doesn't make sense for the most part, but it is really cool to watch. The animation is pretty decent. Not top tier what you would expect from modern anime nowadays, but it's overall enjoyable. It's pretty simplistic as the underlying allegory of like, hey, don't judge a book by its cover, and trying to tackle these racial relations. But one thing I would say is they could have made it a bit more gray, because right now the Momotaros just look like the bad guys. To be honest with you, I get what they're trying to do, and they're trying to make it seem like, okay guys, listen, both groups hate each other and they really shouldn't, because if they got to know each other, they have a lot in common, blah blah blah. One emits blood, one emits bacteria. I get the whole allegory behind it, but I think they're doing a very poor job of balancing things out. But I'm just starting it. I'm not done with it. I haven't read the manga, so I don't really know too much of the bad side of the Oni. All I've seen is the bad side of the Momotaro so far. So as the story progresses, we'll see. But like I said, if none of that convinces you, just watch the anime and let me know what you think. And yeah, just give me your honest opinion about it. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and drop in the comment section your top 5 recommendations of what you're currently watching at the moment.